Hello, my name is Marcus Ortiz, and the resolution that is presented today is social media causes more harm than good. I'll be starting with the resolution analysis, thus being the definitions. Definition number 1 is social media, which is a digital tool that allows users to quickly create and share content with the public. Definition number 2 is relationships, which is the way in which two or more people are connected. Definition number 3 is false news, which is misleading information presented as news. I'll be going against the opponent, the affirmative debater, Shenna, who needs to prove that social media causes more harm than good. I'm going to be the negative speaker, and for me to win, I need to prove that social media causes more good than harm. For today's criteria, only arguments concerning the causes of social media matter for the debate. Today I'll be presenting two contentions. Contention 1 being how social media builds relationships, and contention 2, which states false news isn't just spread on social media. Now here's contention 1, which is builds relationships. The claim being that Shenna claims that social media destroys relationships between humans, and I am going to prove that it builds relationships. Now, the total population in the world is 7.8 billion people. Of the 7.8 billion people, 3.8 are on social media. That being that some of the population is either elderly or infant. Social media helps increase the chances of a possible connection because it allows you to display yourself to others. By displaying yourself, it is easier for others to gather a glimpse of insight into your life to see if there are any similarities that thus cause a connection. This is unlike FaceTime, face-to-face communication, where you don't know any insight on the other person before communicating to them. If it were up to me, I'd rather know a little bit about who I'm talking to before I actually talk to them. Also, social media helps long-distance relationships, whether it's family or a lover. Social media is also great during our current time. Due to COVID-19, many people cannot communicate with others because they are stuck at home due to the virus. Well, without social media, we wouldn't be able to communicate with others outside of our living space and see what they are up to. Overall, a site by the name of Thrive Global describes social media as being a great way to bond, stay in touch, and have a better understanding of one another. And I agree. Also, I'd like to point out that Shenna had stated that you can't read emotions on social media, and I'd like to claim this to be false. You can now see people via Zoom, and it also consists of FaceTime features where you can communicate live with one another. So not being able to read body language and or tone is no longer a problem. Now, the evidence supports the claim because since social media helps bond long-distance relationships, give a glimpse of your personal life with zero harm, and increase connections, even via Zoom or FaceTime, this proves that social media doesn't destroy relationships. Now here's contention 2, which is other sources unlike social media spread false news. Shenna claims that fake news is spread throughout the internet, and therefore the internet does more harm than good. Well, actually, false news is spread everywhere, and not just the internet, thus being that it does not cause any harm. Statista, which is known for evaluating statistics, reported that 34% of people trust the internet, which is less than the news, which is a high of 65. This should be the other way around, as for Daily Fox channel is reported to have 25% of their stories to be fake, alongside with other news channels. And Saturday Night Live even reaches a high of 40%, and local news websites reach 51%. With this news, less people stopped watching the news, and only 40% of the population watched the news. Now, according to CITS, fake news has also been around before the creation of social media. Fake news was in the newspaper, and before the newspaper, there was even a simple act of word of mouth. A story, which was the New York Sun's Great Moon Hoax in 1835, claimed that there was an alien civilization on the moon, just to simply create a profitable newspaper. Today, stories are the same, only more realistic to a sense which they are believable. It's even proven that over 80% of news consumers believe what it is that they are consuming. This means that social media isn't the problem, it's the people who are sharing these false stories who are the problem. The evidence supports the claim because social media isn't the cause of fake news. Yes, fake news is shared on the platform, but without social media, fake news would just spread in other ways. The elimination of social media due to fake news isn't a logical reason. Instead, we'll be taking away a great source of communication, and fake news would still be around.